At the end of every high school sports season, there's a dinner and a party where varsity letters are given out. For the past 4 years, I have gone with my brother to the wrestling banquet. Every time I go, I see our superintendent, Dr. Pilatus. He wrestled in high school, and he makes a point to come to at least a couple of matches and speak at every banquet. He does this because he, having wrestled, entered the Brotherhood of Wrestling. The Brotherhood of Wrestling is the feeling of belonging to a group. A famous wrestler, Dan Gable, is part of this group. In high school, he had 182 wins and only 1 loss, as well as winning 3 national championships and an Olympic gold medal. Dan exemplifies qualities that go beyond mere athletic performance, namely charisma, patriotism, brotherhood, and most importantly, commitment. First, Dan exhibits a charisma that is unequaled in the entire sports community. Charisma is the ability to lead, and is essential for any inductee into the World Hall of Fame. During the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, Dan led the Ohio State University wrestling team to 8 consecutive national championship titles. He was able to command the respect of a team of college kids and forge them into the best team the nation has ever known. This in itself is a feat that deserves to put him into the World Hall of Fame. Besides the strength and leadership, Dan exemplifies patriotism at its finest. Going into the 1972 Olympics, Dan was the best wrestler in the country in his weight class. This was during the height of the Cold War, and reportedly, the one goal of the Russians was to beat Dan. Needless to say, they failed, and Dan went on to win the gold. Dan didn't win the gold just for himself, he did it for his country. He defended our nation's honor at a time when it mattered most. In addition to charisma and patriotism, Dan and all other wrestlers in the world share a feeling of brotherhood that cannot be found anywhere else. Personally, I can relate to this because both my brothers and I wrestled. My oldest brother, Yasha, had a tough time in school with schoolwork and tests. Whenever he felt overwhelmed, he knew that he could always rely on his wrestling buddies for support. In addition, every year during the Thanksgiving Day practice, all the Upper Dublin Wrestling alumni come back to relive old memories. Dan Gable has this camaraderie and has helped many people just like Yasha in their times of need. People that have been inducted into the World Hall of Fame show strong commitment in their various fields. Dan Gable exhibits boundless commitment to wrestling. When training for the 1972 Olympics in Berlin, he rejected an invitation to meet with the president just to continue his regimen. Here is a man who, when all other athletes took a break, stayed committed to his training. Tragedy struck Dan when he was a sophomore in high school. His older sister Diane was raped and murdered in her own house. Despite unfathomable grief, Dan did not stop wrestling. In fact, he and his wrestling career served as the anchor of the family during this horrible time. Once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy. This is a quote from Dan Gable. Think. If he can master the hardest sport, doesn't he deserve to be inducted into the World Hall of Fame? From his commitment to training, to his patriotism in representing our nation in the Olympics, to his leadership ability in leading a collegiate wrestling team to 8 national titles, Dan Gable is unquestionably a qualified candidate for the World Hall of Fame. From the lips of Dan, gold medals aren't really made of gold. They're made of sweat, determination, and a hard-to-find alloy called guts. Being named to the World Hall of Fame will be Gable's final gold medal.